Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano catch-up where every Friday, well Saturday this week, I take a look back at some of the main news, items, events within the Cardano ecosystem that caught my eye. If you get value, feel others can benefit, please do share it out. Lots of updates this week with Melds, Liqwid Finance, Charlie 3, Wingriders, Sundaeswap, World Mobile. Probably a lot more in there. Timestamps will be down below. Give the video a like, comment, even for the algorithm. I do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. Okay, starting out with one of the bigger announcements this week, or one that got a lot of attention, was MELD's announcement about their issue with transactions on Cardano. So IOG have retweeted this to say yes, they are looking into this and trying to work with MELD, but MELD put out this one that after security analysis of lending and borrowing protocol, MELD has identified an issue with the way transaction processing is handled on Cardano and how it impacts the MELD protocol. It could disrupt key parts of MELD's protocol. They say that with security, user funds is their highest priority, and right now they don't have a plan to go to mainnet until some solution is figured out here, and they are collaborating with IOG on this. So from everything we can gather, now MELD haven't come straight out and said what the issue is. There's a lot of speculation that it is in around that transactions on Cardano are not prioritized. So if a liquidation has to happen on the platform, potentially if the network is busy, it might take a few blocks before it gets committed on the network, and the price of the assets could be very different by that time. I will explain that in a minute. I'll probably do a full video on this as well to go through it, because it's a lot bigger than just a 3 or 4 minute segment here in my weekly update. But in short, we do have lending and borrowing live. We have Liqwid Finance doing pooled liquidity, and we have Aada doing peer-to-peer, but we'll soon do pooled as well. So they both have liquidations in their systems, but you will notice that they generally have a fairly decent liquidation rate. So it is in around, you have to put up at least 110% collateral, because when the loan value comes down, or the collateral value comes down to 110%, the loan gets liquidated. What that means is that when you take out a loan, say I want to take out a loan of $100 worth of ZED. So I put up $120 worth of Aada as my collateral, and I take out my $100 loan in ZED. That means that my collateral ratio sits at 120%. If the ratio falls to 110%, then that loan will be liquidated. What happens is the protocol submits a transaction to sell off the Aada that I've put up as collateral and get back the ZED there to repay my loan. So if it all works and the prices don't move much, then it's fine. They get to pay back the loan, and there's actually a small bit left over. Generally that goes to whoever's running the liquidation bots, and with the likes of Liqwid Finance, then anyone in the community can run them liquidation bots. But if the case happens that the transaction doesn't get submitted to the network quick enough, or the markets are moving really fast and the price of Aada keeps dropping very quickly, then when the liquidation actually goes through on chain, then they mightn't get back enough to repay the loan. So it's whoever performed the liquidation gets caught out. So someone gets caught out with bad debt. Now, we're all guessing that that is the issue that MELD are looking at here. There's a lot of talk about bringing a fee market into Cardano. It came up before, and there's actually a really good article by IOG from September 2021 with a solution that I think could work here. If you look at Ethereum, they do have a fee model, or a fee marketplace, where the person that pays the highest fee, their transactions are prioritized on the network. I would never like to see Cardano going like that, with a full, just one tier of whoever pays the most gets prioritized. I do like this approach here that was suggested, where you split the block up. So it doesn't have to be these 50, 30, 20. It could just be that 50 or 60% of the block is assigned to people paying the normal standard transaction fee, which right now is about 0.17 Aada. Moves up and down slightly depending on the number of assets you have, but that's generally the normal fee. So anyone paying that fee, I think you could allocate 50 to 60% of every block for transaction fees like that, and then have a percentage of the block, a certain part of the block, where people who pay the highest fees can get included. So things like liquidations and maybe other DeFi and other dApps building are going to have other reasons why they need transactions prioritized and to be submitted and confirmed on chain as quickly as possible. I think something like that could really work. I will do a full video on this because I don't want this weekly catch up to be completely consumed by this, but I did want to touch on it for today. If any more information on this comes out of what the actual issue they're talking about here is or is different to that, I will get a video out as soon as possible. But early next week I'll get one out to talk about the fee market potential, what could be done there. Like with Cardano, we have a block roughly every 20 seconds, so the finality of transactions is slower than a lot of other networks out there. In time, input endorsers will really help that, but that's not a solution that's going to come this year. I would say next year at best, potentially further out than that, depending on how quickly governance comes in, because that is going to have to vote in input endorsers. In the short term, can we reduce the time between blocks, get more blocks in there? They're the types of things I will look into in that video. So next up then, we'll go to Liqwid Finance when we're on lending and borrowing, and the distribution has opened up for February LQ user distribution rewards can be claimed now. So yesterday, Liqwid Finance announced that people who provided liquidity or took out loans on the system in February, the rewards you earned in LQ are now claimable. Now, up to this, we didn't know how much the rewards were going to be, but looking at what people were able to claim yesterday, they were very sizable rewards. I had a small test position in there and I got back 1 point something LQ from it, which was maybe 170, 180% APY at the time, which is absolutely massive rewards. If you haven't claimed yours yet, you can go into this address here. It takes you to this site. You connect your wallet. When you connect your wallet, then you will see the claim button. It shows you what you're due. You can claim them and then you can do whatever you want. Most people who have claimed them have ended up selling them off. If we look at LQ here, it's actually up slightly since I started the video. It's at 10.5 Aada right now. But if you look at yesterday, when they opened up the withdrawals, you can see straight away there was some massive sell-off. So people were getting basically all this free Aada because this didn't impact them. It wasn't impacting what they put into Liqwid Finance. This is just for participating. This is the incentives that are being paid out to people like that. Now we do see, and we talked about it in Wednesday's live stream with Paddy and Big Pay, where they're looking to reduce the amount of LQ that's up for rewards. The team has submitted proposals to vote on whether they should reduce it. Initially, they put in proposals to reduce it by 99%, then change it to 50%. I'll touch on them maybe next week. We'll look deeper into everything that's going on there. Right now, things don't look great for the LQ price, and there's really no big incentive for people to buy it. When we get into the next month and people are able to claim their March rewards, I would expect even more dumps for the price like this. Lots of people over the last while seem to be, even back here, before we got the release of rewards, people were starting to sell off because they weren't sure what was happening. There's not a huge amount of transparency, and people were selling off here. And if you look at Aada Finance, you can see they were really gaining from this, with lots of people, if you follow some of the wallets, selling off their LQ and moving into Aada. I'm not saying that's the move people should make, but just from some analyzing different trades, that's what seemed to be the behavior there. One positive as well for Liqwid Finance is they have added Shen to the platform now too. So you can see that anybody who wants to use Liqwid Finance, and look, the rewards that came out yesterday isn't great for the LQ price, but it shows people that there's a lot of rewards there to be claimed. So it might encourage more people to come in and use the platform in anticipation of what the rewards are going to be. Just remember that them big APYs are dependent on the LQ price. So if the price of LQ keeps coming down, that means that the APY is going to go down too. But looking here, currently you have Aada, Jed and Shen as the pairs that you can use to either provide liquidity or take out loans on the platform. Next up, we have Charlie 3 have had their first integration with a Cardano project. So they launched their Oracle feeds last year. I think in around Rare Bloom they launched their free feeds for the Aada price. But they now have their first integration with one of the Cardano projects, and that is Liqwid Finance. So they're saying here that the Liqwid Finance is Charlie 3's and Cardano's first Oracle integrator, championing the way to full decentralization for the Cardano community. Shen USD and Aada USD are the first feeds to be launched, and more feeds will follow in time. So I'll look deeper into that maybe next week, but just wanted to highlight it here. Congratulations to Charlie3 for getting the first integration, hopefully the first of many to come. Next up, we have Sundaeswap, and we haven't heard a lot from Sundaeswap over the last few months, but they have said now that, and we're live after months of hard work, we're pleased to announce the V2 Sundaeswap UI is now live. And when you come in to take a look at it, it does look really good. It's definitely a massive step up from V1. If you look here, when you come in first, you have your portfolio. So this is over on the preview testnet for Cardano. So you can see this is my portfolio with a test wallet. I've done some transactions on it. You can see my transaction history over here. When you come into the platform, maybe we'll do a full video on this. I think Pi might be interested in coming on at some point, so maybe I can get him on and we can do a walkthrough of this too. If you come in, you have your exchange, so slightly different wording than you will be familiar with, maybe a bit easier in terms of new people coming into crypto and what they understand. I want to buy something, so they click on buy. So you can see here, this is me connected. So you have two jobs here. You want to buy or you want to sell. So if you want to sell, it'll show you all of the assets you have in your wallet. If you want to buy, let's say I want to buy TIUSD. Click into it. Again, nice visual display of what's going on. Charts look good. I would like to see bar charts added in here. And then you have all the token information here, so you can verify the policy ID if you want to make sure you're trading the asset that you actually want. So say you want 100 TIUSD, shows you all the details. Click on buy and then your trade will go through. Next up, we have Aada Finance, so another lending and borrowing platform on Cardano. We talked a bit about this on Wednesday night's live stream with Paddy and Big Pay, talking about how we see some people moving from Liqwid to Aada at the minute and speculating on the price based on pooled liquidity coming down the line. But this is their March update, and I love to see projects putting these things together, just sharing some transparency with the community of what's actually happening. So you can see their current TVL, which has grown fairly well over the last month. I would say if you look at DeFi Llama, you'll be able to check the specifics, the average loan size, the time of the loans. Actually, the average time to loan, I don't know if that's the average time of a loan or the average time for your loan to be actually taken up when you put in the request. And you can see the most borrowed token is still Aada, and the APRs are fairly high at 41%. The other assets then that are getting lended or getting borrowed out, when they go to pooled liquidity, I think these stats will definitely grow a lot more. Next up, we have Wingriders and their updates for March. So their monthly overview for March, they have actually, interesting to see the number of visitors they've had, the number of swaps and the trading pairs. You can see the top farms by TVL and by APR. TVL has fallen slightly over the last while, with Minswap really becoming the dominant DEX on Cardano right now. You can see the farms and the ones with the double yield. So if you're holding them pairs, maybe there might be a double farm that you want to get into over there. They have put out their Q1 report. I don't know if I have it. I have it here. Q1 tech update, but I might be sitting down with Karan fairly soon. So we'll go through some of the updates there rather than going through the report at this point. But I will leave the links to all of these below for anyone who wants to jump into them. Minswap also put out their March report, and you can see the total value locked up to 137 million Aada locked up, and up 30% from the previous month. It seems every month right now the Minswap, TVL and trading volumes are on the rise. You can see once again March was another green month for the trading volume on Minswap, with 175 million Aada traded. Great to see these numbers growing all the time. And the rest of the stats with the most traded pairs, highest APR farms, daily emissions, and then the amount going into the fee switch growing month on month, which really strengthens the liquidity within the Min Aada pair. Next up, we have some World Mobile updates, and they have finally launched their highly anticipated white paper, which talks about their hybrid solution of a layer 2 and sidechain and how that interacts with Cardano. So Aada is the name of their sidechain. I've talked about that a few times here, and on Wednesdays with Paddy, we've dived a bit deeper into it too, because both of us are running on the current testnet that is running there. And in this one, they talk all about the Earth nodes, how the interactions will work, the Aada committee, which will be responsible for making sure everything that happens on Cardano is translated over to the Aada not the Aada testnet, it will be the mainnet eventually, but how the interactions work there and some of the concepts and how things are going to work. In another video, we might deep dive into some of how this works. Maybe bring on someone who is deeper into the tech as well that might be able to answer questions that people have. Good to see this is finally out. The World Mobile price has taken a bit of a hit though over the last week with, I think, reading through this, nothing official. I don't see mainnet anytime soon or this month or next month looking at this. I think there's still a bit of work to be done before we get to a mainnet date. Absolutely no idea from the team when it's going to be. That's just my speculation on reading this. For me personally, it is a long-term project for me and I'm not going anywhere. Good to see stats on World Mobile Scan. So WMT Scan, you can see up over 300 air nodes installed now, and the revenues for the top 10 air nodes is on the rise. I think the last time we looked at this, the top revenue was something in the 60s. Can't fully remember, but good to see stats and transparency coming in here. Definitely due a catch up with Mickey fairly soon. Other news then, we have Paima Studios, and they have been getting a lot of attention lately. So I had Sebastian on probably a month, maybe even 2 months ago at this point, to talk about what was going on with Paima Studios, and this is all about on-chain gaming. This is the gaming engine that they are building, and they're welcoming a lot of new partners. They say there's a lot of people reaching out to talk to them to figure out how they can integrate it, and overall this is going to be good for Cardano. Sebastian is someone I should probably try and do a catch up with fairly soon, because this and everything that's going on with MELD Cardano, definitely a lot going on for DC Spark right now, and it would be good to get a catch up in there. The weekly report then from IOG, you can see this comes out every Friday. Normally it comes out after my Friday catch up, so good to be able to include it this week. I will leave a link to this for anyone that wants to go through it fully. This is from the tech side, development, everything that's been happening with Cardano over the last week. You can see the summary report then, this is their key highlights and the statistics up to date with the number of projects launched being 122 and over 1,200 projects building on Cardano, native assets, policies, scripts, and the total number of transactions. All these stats are updated every Friday and published across Twitter and on the Essential Cardano website. Then one thing that popped up on my newsfeed, just want to remind people, if you're staking, make sure you check in with your stake pool every so often to make sure the pools haven't retired or anything. There is still a decent amount of stake sitting in the Genius Yield pools. Crown stake pool as well retired probably 2-3 weeks ago now at this point. And there's still a lot of stake sitting there. Anyone in these pools, then you aren't earning any staking rewards right now. If you come over to cexplorer.io and say, yes, I am human. And if we look at the retired delegations here, you can see there are 16,000 accounts with nearly 52 million Aada staked to retired pools. That's a decent chunk of Aada not earning any rewards. Make sure you check in with yours every so often just to make sure things are still running smooth. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy your long weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.